Now let's journey into the Ozark Mountains of southern Missouri. Here we'll find one of the largest 15-inch gauge railroads we've ever seen, and it started as a tribute to a family member.
It's a miniature railroad of giant proportions. 5 miles of track, an 800-foot long tunnel, and the largest steam locomotive of its kind in North America. Tucked away in the Ozark Mountains of southern Missouri, the Arborway TT and Northwestern Railroad is a private 15-inch gauge operation built by banker John Woods and his mother Marjorie. These passionate rail fans began the project on their family farm back in 2001, spurred into action by the near-fatal illness of 90-year-old Marjorie.
Suffice to say that when she managed to survive, we elected to start this project. We had been talking about it. I had been talking about it for years.
John and Marjorie wanted the track plan to follow a scenic route to the Merrimack River, but little did they know the challenges they were about to face from this rugged landscape.
It's not railroad friendly. It's not flat at all. It's very hilly and rocky, a lot of rock. The soils needed a lot of stabilization. We have erosion issues on the steep hills, and so it was very challenging and required a lot of engineering and professional work.
Working with John was a lot of fun. He has a big dream, and he has the means to make that dream become a reality.
I would think so.
One of the many professionals John consulted was Darrell Klompmaker of the Whiskey River Railway in Marshall, Wisconsin.
I would think the biggest challenge of building this railroad was the actual topography and the amount of dirt that needed to be moved, and the challenges of actually getting this layout built into the countryside. It's a beautiful layout.
We moved a total of about 500,000 cubic yards of dirt and rock, and we were fortunate in that the amount of cuts equaled the amount of fills.
2 tunnels were built for the railroad, including the 800-foot-long Ozark. Highway construction crews were hired to do the job.
The Ozark Tunnel was actually sliced down, a very steep slice. Had to go down 60 feet from the top of Ozark Mountain. It's really a ridge, but we call it Ozark Mountain.
Once the right-of-way was complete, railroad manager John Bishop and a crew of hired hands spent 2 years in the site laying the entire 5 miles of track. The project got a boost when John acquired an entire model railroad from Glenn Bell of California, founder of the Taco Bell restaurant chain.
Long story short, Glenn was wanting to get out of the railroad business, and of course I was getting into it, and we just sort of hit it off, and we made a deal.
The Bell Gardens Railroad included 4 diesel engines and 24 cars.
Plus, of course, the track, 2.5 miles of track as well, and switches, and just everything you can imagine. 12 tractor-trailer loads. As I said, it took 2 weeks to unload them.
In the meantime, Darrell was busy building additional equipment, including a diesel engine that became the workhorse of the railroad.
He wanted Darrell size. A lot of people call it Darrell size trains, and that's what he wanted. He wanted trains that were built the size that I build them, and I build them to fit full-size people.
When John requested a steam locomotive, Darrell spent 4 years building the 801, a 484 Northern large enough to carry 2 adults side by side.
In 15-inch gauge, it's probably the largest in the United States by virtue of its size compared to the scale of the track, just its mass. This locomotive weighs about 20,000 pounds. A locomotive like this would be typical to more large mainline. John's rail is a little bit more like a mountain rail out here. It has a lot of stiff grades to it.
Darrell Klompmaker made it very clear that we don't want to go up or down more than 2%. And we have to hold to 200-foot minimum radiuses.
I had some concerns about its overall performance, but we kept looking back at the design and making sure it would handle it. I would say this is the largest railroad I've ever worked on. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it's just a lot of fun, and I hope it continues.
Thanks to a special trust fund, Arborway has a secure future as a private family railroad, dedicated to the memory of John's mother, who passed away in 2007.
Well, I know that when her illness in February of 2001, when she nearly died, I'm convinced, as are other family members, that this project kept her alive many more years than would have been the case.
John has plans to extend the track another 5 miles in the near future. But for now, he's taking time to sit back and enjoy this spectacular railroad, especially from his favorite viewing spot called Panhandle Junction.
You get a good angle of the steam engine, especially the 801, when it's working up the hill and rounding that curve and then heading into the tunnel. It's a pretty impressive sight.